what's up YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a video game review. And for this review, we're going to be taking a look at Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, a downloadable title released on the Nintendo Switch. It is also available on the PS4, Xbox One, PlayStation Vita, Nintendo 3DS, and PC and Steam. And if you're interested in any of the gameplay footage of me playing the game, this is based off the Switch version, I'll have a link in the description down below. Now before I begin with this review, I do want to state as a bit of a disclosure though, I did back Bloodstained Ritual of the Night when it was originally announced back in 2015. So I am a backer of the game, and I do want to state that all opinions about this game are my opinion and my opinion alone. I am not being paid or endorsed or sponsored by anybody whatsoever. So I just want to give that little disclosure out of the way. So with that out of the way, why don't we get started with our review of Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. So, as some of you have been following the game, have been following around the whole Bloodstained story though, it was considered a very successful Kickstarter back in 2015, along with another one, Ukulele, as well. And the game seemed to be going along just fine in development until I think around 2017 they sort of shift courses and changed a little bit of the directions given where things were heading. And because of that, Indie Creates, the folks that were originally working on Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, was pulled off the project. However, it turned out in May, as sort of a consolation prize or something to make up for it, they were given the opportunity to develop a spin-off or a prequel of Bloodstained, which was, I think, one of the stretch goals in the original Kickstarter. And of course, they released Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, a interesting spin-off / prequel of a game that they released. But is it good? And to me though, it is in a way though. So why don't we get started with the pros and the cons. So let me get my notes out. We'll start off with the pros. And the first pro I want to give is the gameplay. This game is basically an old school 2D Castlevania type of a gameplay. It's not like the Metroidvania type, like, Sympathy of the Night is famous for, one of my favorite entries in the Castlevania series, but it follows that traditional gameplay from Castlevania, Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse, Super Castlevania, I think Rondo of Blood, if I'm saying the name correctly. So if you're into those old school 2D style gameplay, those old 2D Castlevania type gameplay, you'll definitely like Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. Next thing I want to say is the look and style of the game. And the game actually looks pretty good. I mean, obviously they were going for a retro look, very similar to how Shovel Knights was in a way. And I definitely like that look. To me, it kind of looks like a NES game, but a bit cleaned up a bit. But overall, love the NES look and style to the game. And last but not least, there's also the different cast of characters, and while you have the main heroine that's going to star in Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, you have 3 other characters. I think you have one that's with the sword, the heroine, I apologize if I'm not memorizing the names, basically with the whip, which brings back, the classic Castlevania, Simon Belmont. She has that kind of style and approach, not to mention she could jump higher and slide under certain spaces that other characters couldn't reach. Alfred, who is the alchemist, who has the ability to use certain magic power, and I think the other one who is going to be the villain in, I think, Ritual of the Night, as far as I'm aware of, that sort of fires off projectiles that go at a 360-degree angle, at least as far as I'm aware of, that basically come in handy if you're trying to target certain enemies like above you and so forth. So you have 4 characters to play with, each with their own unique styles and approach, and that adds a little bit to the gameplay as well. So very interesting to control these 4 characters though. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, I'm going to give you my cons. On top of that, I'm going to give you my thoughts on the movie Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom that I just saw over the weekend. So we'll take a quick break and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our video, and for this one we're going to be looking at the cons for Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. I already gave you the pros, I'm going to give you the cons, plus I'm going to give you my thoughts on Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. So why don't we get started with the cons. So as far as the cons go, we'll start off by talking about the part at the end of Pro where I talk about how you can use 4 characters in the game, each with their own unique styles and approach, which is good. However, based on my time with the game though, I did find myself using 2 of the characters most of the time. The 2 that I could think of is, I think Marilyn, if I'm saying her name correctly, I apologize if I'm not, and I think Gable. Again, apologize if I'm not saying their name correctly. I think those are probably the only 2 I found myself using more of than the others. That's not to say the others don't have their usefulness, but I found those 2 were probably the more useful throughout the game. Alfred, I just felt, except for maybe a couple of areas, I just found him to be the weakest of them all. So, but again, that's my approach on it, but I just do feel that only 2 of the characters I found myself using most of the time. The next thing I do want to point out is the difficulty in the game, which can be both a good and a bad thing. On one hand, it brings back that old school difficulty, Castlevania type gameplay that a lot of old school gamers and people like. At the same time, it might turn some people off on that one. If there is a bright spot on it as well, you do have the option of playing the game in casual mode, where basically when you get hit, you don't get knocked back like you do in the classic Castlevania games. That, and you also have unlimited lives. So again, not everyone will be a fan of casual mode, but it is an option available should you decide to play with that mode instead though. So the difficulty will be a pleasant surprise to old school gamers. Some are gonna like it, but it might turn some people off. And last but certainly not least, this game, as I mentioned before, this game has an old school 2D Castlevania gameplay to it, which is good, but it also brings back some stuff from past Castlevania games that it can make the game a bit difficult, such as climbing up the stairs, which, while not as bad as the old school Castlevania games, can be difficult at times, especially if you're saying like you're trying to duck or hit an enemy and you end up walking down the stairs by accident. So there's that case. There's also, as I mentioned, and the difficulty, every time you take a hit you'll get knocked back. This is if you're playing in normal mode, not casual mode. So it brings some annoying stuff from the past Castlevania games that not everyone will be pleased with though. It doesn't bother me as much, but it might bother some people. Overall, I honestly have to say Bloodstained Curse of the Moon is a fun retro style 2D Castlevania-like gameplay though. It's a very fun game. I've enjoyed it though. I love that old school style and look to it as well. Difficulty might, like I said, might turn some people off. I'm not bothered with it at all. And ironically, it's like $10 to download. So if regardless of what system you have, I downloaded it on the Switch, but like I said earlier, it's also available on PS4, Xbox One, Vita, 3DS, and PC and Steam. Regardless of which is your main system of choice though, it is worth trying out, especially if you're an old school Castlevania fan. And given how well this game has received so far, not to mention Indie Creates has pointed out the game has downloaded about, I think, over 100,000 copies though, it does give me hope for their upcoming game, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. Now granted, there is still the chance that it could turn into another Mighty Number 9 situation though, but based on what I've seen so far, it looks like it's going in the right direction. We'll have to wait and see until Bloodstained Ritual of the Night comes out. Hopefully it comes out this year. I'm hoping for that though, but until then, overall, very fun game, and if you're a fan of old school Castlevania type gameplay and all, you'll definitely like Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. Okay, before I end this video, I do want to give you my thoughts on the movie Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom that I just saw recently. And honestly, I have to say my opinion about the movie is I enjoyed it though. Now, granted, it will never top the original 1994, I think it was either 94 or 93, Jurassic Park. That movie is a classic no matter what, and no matter how hard this movie tries, it will never top that. That being said though, I did enjoy this movie as the whole plot around trying to save the dinosaurs from the island where Jurassic World and the original Jurassic Park are being destroyed by a volcano, to basically stopping people who are selling off these dinosaurs to the highest bidder and so forth. And there is a scene at the end that does give you somewhat of a clue what the third movie is probably going to be, which honestly I think they're going to do a third movie indeed. Though for me though, I look at this movie and it's basically just like how I thought about 2015's Jurassic World. It will never top the original one, but it's as close as it could get to how good as the original one was. Plus, I felt this one was an improvement over Jurassic World. I mean, not improvement over Jurassic World. I mean, The Lost World Jurassic Park, which was a good movie until it got to the San Diego scene, which at that point I was thinking, am I watching a Jurassic Park movie or am I watching Steven Spielberg try to do a Godzilla film? And I thought this one was way better than Jurassic Park 3 was. So overall, I enjoyed Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I think it's as good as Jurassic World. I think those two are still good movies. Just don't go in with the expectation that this movie's going to top the original Jurassic Park in any way. As long as you are aware of that, you'll probably enjoy Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Okay, this concludes this video review of Bloodstained Curse of the Moon for the Nintendo Switch, and my thoughts on the movie Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about Bloodstained Curse of the Moon? Are you enjoying the game? Are you not enjoying it though? Do you like that old school 2D Castlevania gameplay? Or are you not really a big fan of that though? Do you think this game is worth the $10 to download? And if so, which is your preferred system of choice to download it on? And what are your thoughts about the movie Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom? Did you enjoy the movie? Did you not enjoy the movie? Do you think it's better than the original Jurassic Park, or do you think that's too high of a mountain to climb for that as well? Do you think we're going to see a third Jurassic World movie though? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And I hope you hit that like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure you also hit the bell icon as well for notifications. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to. And feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that will be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!